Hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. There's Mr. Chives behind me. He's helping out with the video today. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going to be talking about 3 ways that we can save money and even have fun doing it. The way that the Amish have given us examples. I grew up around an Amish community and it is just common sense. It's easy to do and it will save money, but also it will even help you learn how to have some skills that in case something would happen where you had no electricity at all, what could you do to keep your clothing clean and things like that. So that's what we're going to be going over today. So let's get right into it. The first item that I have is lanterns. Now, that might seem strange if you're not used to using those, but you can use these even when you're having dinner, when you're just catching up over the day and going over things. And it can be really fun, honestly. Now, this one here is a little different. It's called an oil lamp lantern. And this is made by a small company. I like them, and I'll put their link down below. Lehman's, if you are familiar with them at all, they are in Ohio. They're also around an Amish community, and they have amazing products. And they actually offer kits of these in case you want to make your own. And there's all kinds of YouTube videos and things like that out there for that. But the way this works, you see the olive oil in the bottom, and it's got a metal piece with a wick sticking out, and you just light that. And I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. So you just lift this up and you light it. And the reason I want to light it is I want to show you how easy it is to put out. Okay, so there it is lit. And then it just sits there like that on your counter or wherever you would have that. And again, you just use olive oil for that. And when you're done with it, the thing I like about it too is you put that on and that smothers the oxygen, and then in a moment it just goes out on its own. So that's really nice, and there it goes. Now, besides that, there are the oil lantern types, which you can get the oil and the wicks. We get them at hardware stores. They're not hard to find at all, but they have all different kinds of these. So certainly do your research, see what you might think that you might be familiar or comfortable with and want to use. But this one here, I think they call it a genie lamp. It's the basic design. The wick goes up and down. After you light it, you take this off and you would light it, and then you'd put this back on and adjust it to how you want it. And I'm going to light one of these in a moment and show you. So that's that one. It does come with the red oil. You can get different colors, so that makes it kind of fun too. Now, if you like this kind of thing, we found this little one with a handle in an antique store. So that's nice too. Same thing. It's got the wick. Now this one, you screw it off and you put the oil down in there with the wick. And that's how that one works. Same basic concept. This one here is a little bit newer design, and I kind of like this one. It's got a fill line and it's got a little reservoir. That's where you put the oil into. You just pour it into there and you put that, put it to the fill line, and then that's all you would do. And it has the wick just like the other ones. But the thing that I kind of like about this, and I don't know, maybe it would be good for you if you don't really want your hands to be that close to the flame, it has this on the side so it lifts this up. You don't have to take the glass on and off when you're doing it. And then you just put your flame right there and you light the wick and you put it back down. And that's all you have to do. And then I have it way high up to light it. Well, then you just adjust it to however big you want it, and it puts off a lot of light, and this would keep you from using electricity. If you didn't have electricity, you could use these and you could see around the house. But also, if you just want to save money on electricity and find ways to shut it off and not use it all the time, these are great for that. And then again, when you want it to be done, you just pour it all the way down and it goes out. Super simple. Now, if you have young kids or you have cats or pets around like we do, or maybe you're just not comfortable with open flames at all, there are other options too that you can do without using electricity. I found a set of these at the Goodwill store for less than $3 a piece. So it just has a little opening. Now, these do have spots for those tea light candles that you could put in there if you wanted to. But if you wanted to go without an actual flame, these here are just the ones that you can get. And I actually got these at Goodwill too, but you can get them in the stores, and they're battery operated. So you just flip that on, put it back in there, and then you could carry that around. And it may not give you as much light as the other ones, but still it would be a good way to do that. So that is the first tip that we could use to save money. Now, the next one I did mention in my last video, and I'm going to do a separate video on this. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but it is sewing or mending. And that, I think, is going to be even more important for us as we look for ways that we don't have to spend money on clothes. Like say I rip this and well, I guess I have to throw it away. It's got a big rip in it. No, I can use my sewing kit and I can just sew that up and then I can keep it. So there may come a time where there isn't even clothing available to buy. Hopefully not, but it could happen, especially with the supply issues and things. And maybe you have a favorite outfit that you want to keep. Well, sewing will help you do that. Mending will help you do that. Now, of course, the Amish make their own clothing, and you could certainly go much more in depth and learn how to make your own clothing if that's something that you start sewing and you realize you enjoy it and it's something you want to do. That could be something too. But even just the mending, this particular sewing box my mother gave to me, and it's very special. So I even took it in my luggage on the plane to the country of Georgia and back because I didn't want to let go of this one. But I will go over more in the other video, but there you are. You have different sewing threads and colors and needles and things like that. So it doesn't take a lot to mend clothes. It doesn't take much to do that. And then you have your clothes with you and you can keep them longer. And another way that you can keep them longer, we're going to talk about in just a moment. But first, as always, I want to share scriptures of hope and just reminders that Jesus is still there and he sees us and he cares about us. So today I have in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 3:18, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. And that is good news for our time for sure. And in the New Testament, in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3 and 4, praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. So as always, I will have links down below in case you want to learn more about the Lord or become a follower of Jesus Christ if that's something of interest to you. Okay, so the third way that we can save money and even have fun doing it still is, I did show a little bit on the last video, but I'm going to actually do a demonstration here in a moment. And then after the demonstration, if you would like to stay, I have an Amish treat. It's super simple to make, super easy, really fast. 3 ingredients is all you need. And that's just for fun, and I thought that might be something enjoyable. So we have ways that you can dry your clothes without a dryer. And if you think about it, when you're drying your clothes in the dryer and you take all that lint off, well, that's your clothes that's coming off. So this even helps preserve your clothes longer besides not using as much electricity. And then there's also ways that we can use these here. This is a hand plunger, a hand washer, and Lehman sells these as well. I have seen metal ones in the antique stores. However, on Lehman's it does say, they sell the metal ones too, but it does say that they may rust in a few years. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So you just need that and a big old bucket, and I'm going to demonstrate that in a minute, and you can wash your clothes without a washer. So maybe you find a combination that works for you. Maybe you really enjoy doing the washing, and you can do it in a tub, you can do it in a shower stand, because you have the bucket here, that's where the clothes go in. So it doesn't take much space, and you can do that. So maybe you want to do that, but then throw them in the dryer because you just need to have your clothes dried, or it's a big comforter or something. It just makes sense to you. Or maybe you throw them in the washer and you wash them regular, but then you want a different way to dry them so you don't have to turn on that expensive dryer. Well, there are multiple ways to dry them, and I'm even going to show you 2 ways that you can get the extra water out of your clothes when you're done hand washing before you hang them to dry. So let's get started with that demonstration, and then be sure to stick around for the uh, Amish treat that I'll be doing. And please, if you have other things that you have done to save electricity, put a comment down below, because we all are looking for ways nowadays to save money and be able to stretch those dollars and stretch what we have even further. All right, let's get started. All right, to wash your clothes without electricity, you're going to need a tub. This is just a 16-gallon tub. I got it at a place called Jack's here in Colorado. You can find them in places like Begg or other places that sell animal products, or any tub that you would have enough space will work for you. So you need a tub, you need the plunger, and you want the water to at least be at the level here when you put it in there. And then you're going to need some other type of container to put your clothes in when you're done washing before you rinse. So you fill it up to about there, and then that's when you get started. Okay, we've got the water in there, and now we agitate it for 2 minutes, and then we let it rest for 15. And that takes care of the washing part, and then we will rinse it. So I'm not going to do it for 2 minutes, but this is how you do it. It's got a handles, and you just pull it up and down, and you can hear it. It's pulling the water through the plunger, and so that's how it gets it clean. And it's nice for your arms too. It gives it a workout. So after you do that for 2 minutes, then you let it rest, and then we're going to drain it out, and we're going to put the clothes in a separate container just for a moment and fill this up with rinse water. Okay, it has rested for the 15 minutes. Now what I usually do is just give it a couple more churns like that. Then you take it out. You're going to put your clothes, and don't worry about their need wrung out or anything. You put your clothes over here in this basket, you dump the water, and then we fill it up again with rinse water. And if you want to put softener in, that would be the time to do that. I found that white vinegar works as a softener for me. I read about that. I didn't believe it. Do your research, see what you think, but it works really well for our clothes, and it's so much less expensive than using the commercial softeners. So that might be an option if you're comfortable with that. So I'm going to get the rinse water in here, and then I'll show you what we're doing then. Okay, we're almost done with our wash method that did not use any electricity. So we've done the wash. I have put the clothes into the tub, and when I did that, then I filled it back up with rinse water. Now I use the 4th cup of vinegar. You do your research, see what you think. If that's something you're comfortable with, it certainly could save you money, but whatever softener you want to use, or none at all, that's up to you. And then do the same thing for about 2 minutes. You're going to plunge it again. Remember, you want the water to be up to that lip on there so that it has enough water to plunge correctly. And you'll plunge it for about 2 minutes. And again, you just up and down, it's all you do. Kind of move it around, and you plunge that for about 2 minutes, and then we will take it out, kind of wring them out a little bit as you're taking them out and putting them in the other tub. Of course, they're going to be still really, really wet. So next, I'm going to show you a couple of options you can do other than using the dryer. Just in case you either can't, or you really want to save money, you need to cut back on electricity. These are options that you can do. Okay, so now that you've got your clothes washed without the electricity, they are pretty soaking wet. So you could hang them up, and I've had to do that on occasion, and I put towels down underneath, and it took a long time to dry. But what would be a better way without using a dryer that you could get your clothes ready to hang up and they're not going to be dripping wet? Well, this one still uses electricity, but very little electricity. It just goes for a few minutes and then it's done. So this is called a spin dryer, and I will try to find a link and put that down below in case you're interested. I won't go into all the details just for the sake of time. If needed, if you'd like to see another video on how to use it, just comment down below and I can do that, or contact me directly, that's fine. But basically, you have something underneath, so you can use that same tub that you were putting the clothes in. You open up the spin dryer. There is the top piece that you take out, and you're going to put that on top of the clothes. You put the clothes in there, you put this on top of it, and then you turn it on. That's all you have to do. Now, every once in a while, you will have to make sure that the clothes are balanced in there, but it's not difficult to do that. Now, it is important to make sure that you have something underneath here, because this is the drain where the water is going to come out. And you'll be surprised how much water comes out of these. They feel almost dry when they come out of this. It's wonderful. And then you can hang them up to dry them the rest of the way, and it doesn't take much time at all. So that's all I did. Then I put this on the top of them. You shut the lid, and when I push this forward, it's going to start to spin. Now, like I said, sometimes it'll be off center a little bit, and you'll have to get it on center. But most of the time, it's not. So let's see. All right, that's all that it does, and you can see the water coming out of here. Now, it's going to bounce for a minute, but you can see the water coming out of there. That's going to drain all kinds of it out. Once a lot of it comes out, you won't have to hold on to it anymore. It'll just finish draining, and that goes for 5 minutes, and then it will beep and it will shut itself off, and it will be almost dry when they come out of here. Now, you can pull this back if you want to stop it sooner. Like if there's no more water coming out and you don't need it to go the whole 5 minutes, if after 2 minutes, say it's done, then you can just pull it and stop it, and it stops no problem. So now it has kind of gotten itself settled, and that's all you do. Okay, now mine, I don't know if you can see it, but it is barely dripping. And so since we're talking about saving electricity, saving money, I'm going to go ahead and shut mine off early, and then you can see what it does. So you just put your hand up here and you pull it straight back. And that's it. And it's shut off. And then if you need to, you can pop the button and you pull it up. You pull the top piece off. And these are ready to go. They're not dripping. They're not soaking wet. And it doesn't take hardly any time now for them to dry. You can put them on a hanger or something else. Now, there is another way that you can get the water out of your clothing if you have absolutely no electricity. And I keep that outside because I don't use that right now. I have it as a backup emergency. I don't use it on a regular basis. So I'll take you outside and I'll show you that next. Okay, so if you are in a situation that you just really want to save as much money as you can, or you don't have electricity at all, this is another way when you get done doing hand washing that you can get some of the water out before you hang them to dry. So this is a hand wringer, and I'll put the link for this company in the description. Lehman's also sells items like this, but it's super simple. Your grandparents probably have used it. You put your cloth or whatever you're going to use there, and it wrings it out there, and the water goes into the bucket. And that way, you could use this inside if you wanted to. If you had the bucket set up, you could actually do that. I try to use it outside when I'm using it. I don't use it that often. I don't know if I can do that and hold this as well. Hold on. Let me try. There we go. Okay, so I've got it hooked in there, and you'll see that it's coming out, and there's the water starting to come down. And these here are how you determine how tight you want these, because if you're going to do jeans or something through there, then obviously you're going to need to have this less tight. So then you just undo that. But you do that, and then these are much less wet, and they're not dripping when you're trying to hang them up to dry. So now that we have washed them wash the clothes without electricity. We have found a way to get most of the water out, either with electricity, a little bit, nearly not as much as a dryer, or even by hand wringing with the crank one. Now here is a way that we can hang our clothes up. So I've done this a couple ways on here. And again, this is an Amish made clothes dryer. You just hang them and dry. It's really nice. So you see, you can put clothes on here, or you can put them on the hanger and hang them that way. You see that I have towels hanging there, and it goes in a circle. It goes around. And I specifically put it in my living room just so you could see, even if you have a tiny bit of space, even if you don't have a big house, you can still do this and you can still save money, or you can still wash your clothes if you didn't have electricity to do that. And this one, again, there's several different methods or different models, but this one, it has the round ones there, and you just pull it out like that and you put it down. And when you're all done, it folds all the way up, and it doesn't take up much space at all. So that is one way. Another way that you could do things, if it's something that you would be open to, that your family might be open to, my husband did a wire, or not a wire, but it's a line even inside. Now we have clotheslines outside, lots of people do, but this is one inside in the back room that I'm going to show you really quick, so that you can see another way that you can also hang up your clothes. And again, it's not something that has to be out all the time. It's not something that's going to be, you're going to have towels and clothes hanging all over your house when people come. It's just something to help you save money and get through if you don't have that electricity to use that dryer. So let me show you what that looks like really quickly. So as you can see, I've got 2 towels hanging there. I've got some clothespins there. It hooks over in the corner just on a regular J hook. It was really, really easy to put on, and it doesn't take very long, especially if you use that spin dryer for these clothes to dry. Okay, so that is our Amish Savings Day. I hope you have found some ways that you can use to save, and maybe, you never know, it may come to the point where we have to know how to do things without electricity. We have to know how to keep our clothes because there just aren't more clothes available. Hopefully that never comes to happen, but sometimes it does. In some parts of the world it already is that way. So as I said I want to share with you a Amish treat. This is Amish peanut butter, or you may have heard it called church spread, and it is a yummy treat, super, super easy and quick to make. And just like I shared in my last video, which I'll link below, if you wanted to make this with a friend, you could even share the cost, and then the two of you could split, or a family member or whatever, the two of you could split that, and then it wouldn't even cost as much to do that. Not that it costs a lot anyway. So there's only 3 ingredients: light corn syrup, peanut butter. The recipe calls for creamy, but you could try it with crunchy. I've never tried it. And marshmallow cream. Or of course, if you have marshmallows, you can always melt them as well. So it's 1 cup of the corn syrup, half a cup of the peanut butter, and 1/4 cup of the marshmallow cream. So even that is easy. You pour all of that into a big bowl together and you stir it up. That's it. You're done. You did it. And then you can, put it in a nice pretty jar or something, give it to a friend for a gift. It is yummy, and you can put it on things, but you can also just eat it with a spoon. They do call it church spread because the Amish just have it for a treat on Sundays. It's not something that you would probably want to eat every day, but it is yummy and it's fun, and it would be a way that you could share with friends and just enjoy. And I hope that you try that, and it's something that you end up doing for years to come, just as a treat for yourself, if that's something that you like. Okay, so if you're liking these videos, please do hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you'll get notified when we do more of these videos. If you like this video, please consider hitting the like button on that. I would love to hear a comment from you. I know that with the YouTube algorithms and everything, it says that it helps those things, but I would just love to hear, because is any of this useful for you? Do you think you could incorporate this into your routine at all, and then maybe save yourself some money and help your family as well, or be prepared for an emergency? It could just be that a storm knocks out electricity for a week, and you would know how and be prepared to keep your clothing clean, and be able to do things with lanterns so that you're not in the dark, and even be able to sew your own clothes and things like that. So thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.